Hello, I'm Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com. Many of my English students confuse the use of going to versus will. You may have learned in your English class that you can use both of these to talk about events that will happen in the future and that you can use them interchangeably. While that is true, it's not the entire complete truth. And so right here, right now, I'm going to clarify when it is more correct to use going to or will. The basics of how to use them, along with lots of examples to show you how to use them. And at the end of this English tip lesson, I'll give you a quiz to check your understanding. If you would like to learn more about this and many other topics in speaking English, then you should get on the wait list for my complete course. Inside my complete English course, you'll find the rest of this lesson, including common mistakes using going to and will and how to fix them, and native English speaker tips on how we really use these two in everyday English conversation. It's a little bit different than what you may have learned in your traditional English class or textbook. To get on the wait list, visit gonaturaleNglish.com/pre-reg. That's PREREG, and the link is in the description. I highly recommend that you get on the wait list because the next time that I open up the course for new students, it will fill up quickly. So I'll see you there. Now, without further ado, let's jump into this English lesson on how to use going to versus will. Before we talk about the differences that you can see behind me, I want to talk briefly about how to form sentences with going to and with will. With going to, you need, of course, a subject and then the verb to be before you use going to and then another verb. For example, I am going to teach you about going to versus will. Or you are going to. He or she is going to. We are going to. They are going to. With will, we don't need the verb to be. We just need a subject, will, and then another verb. For example, I will teach you about going to versus will. You will. He or she will. We will. They will. Now, let's look at how native English speakers actually use these. We often do not say the complete form as I just said them. You'll often hear native speakers saying gonna. For example, I'm gonna teach you about going to versus will. You're gonna, he or she's gonna, we're gonna, they're gonna. And with will, we often contract the subject and will. For example, I'll, you'll, he or she'll. So he'll or she'll, will, and they'll. So keep this in mind because when you're listening, more often than not, native speakers will use these shorter forms because they're easier to say. They may not be easier to hear, but once you train your hearing and your listening in English, it will get a lot easier. Now, what is the difference? Well, we can use both of these to talk about the future, but there are some subtle but important differences, especially if you want to focus on meaning or expressing a certain thing. So let me explain. Going to is for events in the future that you've already decided on in the past. This is a plan. You've made the decision. So it's not a surprise. It's not something you just decided. It's not something that's in the distant future. It's something that is likely to happen because you've already decided on it. It could also be for something that you're predicting. It could be something that you're anticipating. So, for example, I'm going to teach you about going to versus will. That would be the most appropriate way to express what I am planning to do in this video because I've already decided that I'm going to do it. I didn't just turn on the camera and then decide, I think I'll teach going to versus will. No, I planned this. It was decided before I started speaking. It is likely to happen soon, and in fact, it's happening right now. Also, with the weather, we often use going to because it's not only something that's likely to happen soon. For example, I see it's very cloudy outside. I think it's going to rain. It's also a prediction or something that I'm anticipating. Now, another example of prediction or anticipation would be talking about your favorite sports team and how you think they're going to do. I think my favorite team is gonna win. Now, let's look at will. Will is for when you want to show that you have just decided in the moment of speaking. So for rapid decisions, something that was not planned in advance. For example, I'm thirsty. I think I'll go get a glass of water. I wasn't planning to be thirsty. I wasn't planning on this glass of water. It's something that struck me because I was feeling thirsty just now. We use will when we're negotiating. So in the moment when you're talking through a business deal, perhaps you're going to buy a car. You could say, your asking price is a little expensive. I'll give you half of what you're offering. So you just had this thought in the moment while you were negotiating, and then you make the offer. We use will for promises. For example, I promise I'll always be your friend. Or I promise I'll bake you a cake. I promise I'll always be the best English teacher I can be for you. Conversely, a threat, which is like a negative promise, can be expressed with will. For example, I'll get you for that. If you did something wrong or mean to me, I might say, I'll get you for that. We also use will for dreams or events that might occur far into the future. For example, anytime someone says someday or I dream about doing something, then you should use will. For example, someday I'll win the lottery, or someday I'll find the man of my dreams and get married and I'll have a baby. These are all dreams that are not happening anytime soon, so I would use will. We can also use will with requests or for volunteering. For example, my bag is very heavy. Will you help me carry it? And then if you would like to volunteer to help me, you could say, yes, I will. Or without me asking, you might say, Gabby, I see that your bag is very heavy. I'll help you carry it. We also use will for facts. For example, next year, the American people will vote on a new president. And finally, decisions, especially decisions that you make in the moment of speaking. Yes, I think I will drink a glass of water soon because I'm thirsty. It's just a silly example. But these are the differences between will and going to. To quickly recap, going to is more for pre-planned decisions, so decisions that you have made previous to speaking. Going to is for things that are likely to happen soon. So it's hard to put an exact time on this, but it's more the feeling, something that is going to happen in the immediate, soon future. We use going to, something that's more definite or a prediction. When you say, I think something is going to happen, this is the correct usage of going to, as opposed to will that we use for decisions made in the moment, spontaneous decisions. I'll do something because it sounds fun in the moment, not something that's pre-planned. Will is also for events that could happen far in the future or dreams. So they definitely have a different feeling, although you could use them interchangeably. Let's look at some examples when you cannot use these two interchangeably, so you get a better idea of how they're different. When you're trying to decide whether to use going to or will, ask yourself, is it a plan or a dream? Is it likely to happen soon or farther off in the distant future? Is it more likely to happen or maybe more unlikely to happen? Let me share some examples that are both correct sentences but have very different meanings. I'm going to have a baby versus I'll have a baby. I'm going to have a baby makes me think that I'm already pregnant and it's a definite plan. I'll have a baby makes me think that it's a plan for the distant future or maybe more of a dream. Do you see the difference? I'm going to travel to Egypt makes me think that it's a definite plan. Perhaps I've purchased tickets and I'm going in the next several months. versus someday I'll travel to Egypt. Especially when we hear that someday, we know that it's a more distant dream, and I probably have not bought a ticket or made any definite plans. I'm going to speak English fluently versus I will speak English fluently. I'm going to sounds more like it's going to happen soon and you've made a decision and it's a definite plan versus I'll speak English fluently someday sounds like more of a distant dream. So I would say for you, you are going to speak English fluently very soon, especially if you're watching Go Natural English. Now, when can you use these interchangeably? If you are not emphasizing that it is something you've already decided on, if you're not emphasizing that it's a prediction or something that's going to happen soon, if you're not emphasizing that it's a dream or a decision that you have made in that very moment, or perhaps that you're volunteering or making a request, well, you can probably, in most cases, use these interchangeably. But note that the meaning can change and someone might misunderstand you. Now, let's take a quiz to test your understanding of the differences between going to and will. Please fill in the blanks by thinking about and even saying the answer out loud. Number 1, I teach you the difference between going to and will. Number 2, my suitcase is so heavy. You help me with it? 3, someday I have a baby. 4, within the next year, I have a baby. Number 5, I tell you the answers now. All right, let's look at the answers. Number 1, I'm going to teach you about the difference between going to and will would be the most appropriate answer. Number 2, my bag is very heavy. Will you help me carry it would be the best answer to this one. Number 3, someday I'll have a baby would be the most appropriate answer. You could say going to, but you see there's a different feeling. Someday really insinuates or shows that we're talking about the distant future versus number 4, within the next year. It's something that is happening soon and I'm probably planning it. I'm going to have a baby. Just examples, guys. There is no baby coming anytime soon. Number 5, I'm going to tell you the answers because it's something that I've planned to do and it's going to happen in a short time. So how did you do on the quiz? Was this easy or difficult? Let me know, and if you'd like to learn more about this topic and many others, I'm going to share common mistakes, how to correct them, as well as how to use these more as native English speakers do in the second half of this lesson, which is inside my premium complete English course. If you want information on when it is opening for new students and how to join, you should join the waitlist at gonaturalenglish.com/pre-reg. That's PREREG, and the link is in the description. Now, if you enjoyed this free English tip, click on the subscribe button, and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you so much for watching and have an amazing day. Bye for now.